Now that's just about as easy to understand as saying that he's our everything. I sat there and I scratched my head and I go, infinity, huh? Okay. This will be interesting to see how he explains that. But the concept is this, and what he was drawing was basically the idea of a light bulb. And when light emanates from a light bulb, it emanates in millions and millions of light rays that we can't perceive them individually. So what we did when we did our calculations is we based all our calculations off of one light ray. Okay, how far it would emanate based on the power, and if it hit a lens, how it struck that lens, how it was refracted both outside, inside the lens, and then after it exited the lens. Okay, how it would be bent, how light would be bent if it were to be sent to infinity. Now, the reason that that's important is when a person's eye is what we call emmetropic, zero prescription, that means their eye is naturally focused for infinity. Light rays that would emanate from an object have now emanated far enough that they have reached parallel. Okay? We would take people's eyes who were either nearsighted or farsighted, and we correct their eye back to being emmetropic or zero, so that they can see basically for infinity. Now, infinity, believe it or not, you say, well, how are you supposed to calculate that? Light rays are virtually parallel by the time they reach 20 feet. That number 20 mean anything to you with regard to going to the doctor's office? What's your vision? Well, I'm 20/20. That's where that number came from. That's why that's important, because that's where light rays begin to emanate in parallel. And I thought about that, and I thought, well, okay, that means if they are emanating in parallel, that they are in absolute harmony at that point from then on. Okay. And then I started to think about that a little bit more, and I thought, isn't that really what we're supposed to achieve in our walk with God? We're supposed to keep trying to achieve that 20-foot distance in our relationship with Him until we get to the point that we are walking in absolute perfect harmony with Him. And when we get to that point, we can see Him perfectly. We can see exactly who He is, what He wants for us to do. And we're never going to completely achieve that 20-foot distance in our walk with God until He calls us home. But that doesn't mean that we don't stop trying to achieve and how to keep growing. We keep moving forward in that process through the work of the Holy Spirit to come to know Him better each and every day, that process of sanctification in which the Holy Spirit helps us to become a little more holy today than we were yesterday, and even more tomorrow than we were today. As we do that, as we strive to do that, I think we come to a better understanding when we say that God is our everything. He's given us, the human mind, human beings, a brain that is different than any other creature on this planet. He has given us the ability to be able to think, the ability to be able to understand what the images are that come in, the ability to be able to speak. Now, you might say, well, animals can see, animals can speak, but animals can't communicate the way that you and I can communicate. We can find people in a different country and we can learn their language and we can speak to them if we work at it. God also gave us a mind in which we can understand more about what love is, and He gave us a heart to truly experience it. We're made in His image. He gives us a foretaste of what that means to be a part of Him. We need to strive for Him to be the center of our life.